Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 356 of the All Dolphins podcast. I am pleased to be joined once again by Chris Perkins, columnist for the South Florida Sun Sentinel, host of the Dolphins Deep Dive with, appropriately enough, Perk. Perk, how are you, partner?
Poop, I'm good, man. We got a game in 2 days. We had a game 2 days ago. That's a nice little middle ground to be in, isn't it?
That's not bad. I agree. I'm not a fan of the Thursday night games. I like watching them in terms of covering them. Not necessarily a fan. It kind of disrupts the flow of the schedule from my end, and I'm sure all the viewers out there are really concerned about my workflow during the week as opposed to what's going on with the team.
I see that on social media all the time. What about Poop's workflow? I see that all the time.
Okay, so it's not just me. I'm not making that up then. So, Perk, you and I haven't done this since I think it was Friday. So, anything new happened since we last talked? I mean, other than the game, obviously, the Dolphins beating the Jacksonville Jaguars 20-17. Anything else happened?
Something big. I mean, Raheem Mostert and Devon Achane have not practiced. Yes. I mean, come on. Like, right? Is that what you mean?
Sure. Yeah. That's what I mean. No, we're going to address the elephant in the room because it has to be discussed. Because apparently you're not a media member if you're not discussing it, and you have to have an opinion. Of course, I'm talking about the Tyreek Hill incident with the Miami-Dade police officers outside Hard Rock Stadium. And like everybody else, the overall take is it was a nasty situation that got massively way out of hand, poorly handled. Talk about somebody forgot to learn the art of de-escalation. This was the opposite. I do want to say, and this may not go over well with Dolphin fans, but such is life in the big city. These are facts based on the videos I saw. And Perk, tell me I'm wrong unless you saw something different. Tyreek making the comment after the fact that he was respectful. Well, the video I saw is the first words to the cop were basically, "Don't knock on my window. Why are you knocking on my window? And give me my ticket so I can go on my way." That's not my definition of being respectful. Of course, that does not justify the overzealous cops, particularly the one who came in from the side first to yank Tyreek out of the car and then throw him on the ground and then have him in a chokehold, which was completely over the top and ridiculous. But again, this is where the art of de-escalation. If the cop was justified, I have a friend of mine who's a cop, who's been a cop for a very long time, who told me that there's a reason why the cops want the windows down, and it's for their own safety. Well, if Tyreek's refusing to do that, how about there's some sort of discussion that ensues if you have to bring in a supervisor to come in and de-escalate and try to have a conversation and get Tyreek to listen. And Tyreek said his concern was that, he's Tyreek Hill. People are going to start taking photos and all of that, which is fine, except the cop in this particular case also has the right to, I'm concerned about my safety. I would like to get your window rolled down. And if there's a conversation as opposed to animosity from the start, from both ends, maybe we don't get to where we were. Understanding that, again, it's the officers who have the power, that it's the officers who went really over the top with their actions.
Yeah, I'll give you my view, and my view is probably going to piss off both sides. This is a basic matter of respect. Tyreek has got to respect the police. The police have got to respect Tyreek, and this wouldn't have happened. And ideally, it's going to be 50-50 on both sides, right? Tyreek gives 50%, the police give 50%, you respect each other. Correct. The problem comes in when one side or the other is being disrespectful. And then the other side, well, screw you. Screw you. And we have this situation that we have here. When Tyreek said after the game, and Uncle told me, when you get pulled over, put your hands on the steering wheel and don't say anything. I didn't see that in the video.
On the contrary, actually.
Yeah, and look, and the police, there's no reason to drag Tyreek out of the car and throw him on the ground like that. But Tyreek has got to roll down that window and keep it down, because the police don't know if you have a weapon. They don't know. Those windows are pretty dark. But Poop, to me, the thing that frustrates me with this whole situation I don't hear any conciliatory tones from either side. Both sides have dug in even deeper since the video comes out. The police union, the Dolphins, Drew Rosenhaus, Julius Collins, who is Tyreek's agent. Now the police officer wants to come back to work. And the things that I don't hear are, well, I probably could have handled this better. Let's figure out a way to handle it better. It's just butting heads. And that's what pisses me off about this, Poop. How many times have the Dolphins had these police ride-arounds back in the Kenny Stills days for like 3 years, and nothing has freaking changed? I don't think that anything is going to change here. It's neither side feels that they did anything wrong. And both sides are dug in. And when we hear people talking about it, it's divided along racial lines or lines of politics, or I hate the cops. Well, I can't drive while black, blah, 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 and whatever. Are you trying to work toward change, or are you trying to prove that you are right?
Wow, Perk, well done. Well said. No, and I can't disagree with anything you said. And again, to me, there's wrong on all sides here.
Yep.
And again, the cops being in the position of power were the most egregious offenders here, with the yanking him out of the car, especially when Tyreek was getting out. At that point, he was getting out. There was no need to grab him and then physically yank him out, and then to throw him on the ground again was over the top. But as I said before, the whole thing got off to a really bad start, and it went sideways because there was no de-escalation whatsoever. And I had, this is completely off topic here, but I have 2 kids, and basically one of the things that you drill into kids is like de-escalate. When there's a situation that occurs, you de-escalate. And this case was poorly handled. Okay, so having said our thoughts on this, I do want to say one more thought on this. And I hope this doesn't come across as insensitive or dismissive and all that. The notion that the players are going to let that incident affect their player, that it's going to become a big factor in any outcome, whether it was Sunday or whether it's Thursday night, I'm not buying it for a second. These are professional athletes. This whole notion of distractions, when they're on the clock, those guys are on the clock. And you hear that idea of like, oh my God, there's so many distractions around the team. I call BS on that. I mean, all the time. Like Tyreek went off for 130 with a touchdown, an 80-yard touchdown. Once he's at the time, obviously he's troubled by what happened, and on a personal level, obviously you get that. The game starts, all of a sudden he's in cheetah mode, and it's going to be the same for his teammates. And for example, not that it's the same issues whatsoever, but immediately after the first game, after the incident of the Bullygate scandal, the Dolphins won against was at the time was a very good Cincinnati team. When Chris Forster lost his job because he was videotaped snorting coke, Dolphins went out and won their next game. So again, I think the whole notion from me, this is somebody, I've done this a really long time. It makes for a good story. The whole notion of distractions is so overblown.
Yeah, I don't know that I think it's a case-by-case basis on that. And really, to me, it's not really about Tyreek, because Tyreek could play in the eye of a hurricane. I mean, he's that focused and he's that good. It's everybody else. And you just wonder, because nobody can escape this. Nobody in that building can escape this. You can say, I haven't talked about it, but your wife is going to talk about it. Your kids are going to talk about it. Your neighbors, you can't escape it. Social media, your family, I'm sure you've got brothers and sisters and cousins and parents calling you and asking what happened. And you just get so consumed by it that sometimes you just get pissed off by it and you can't focus. I do believe in football as being a respite and a place of, escape and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know that there's a particular rule on distractions and how long does it last or anything like that. I will say this, Poop. I've written 2 columns in the last 8 months on Tyreek's off-field behavior. I've got another one pretty much filed already. And my question is, like, is somebody in that building going to talk to Tyreek? Is somebody going to pull Tyreek aside? Because you've had the divorce petition that was filed and withdrawn, the domestic incident at his house where police are called, the house fire, the social media influencer. Like, you've had the boat, the haul over marina incident. This is in like 2+ years. Like, it's incident after incident after incident. And I'm not assigning blame or fault at all. That's not, it's the behavior. It's like, you know, you've re-signed this guy, you've restructured his contract. That's the correct term. Right. But somebody's got to talk to him about this behavior. I asked Mike McDaniel about this at the owners' meetings after the lawsuit with the social media influencer, and he said, you know, we have great communication with Tyreek and blah blah blah, but now we have another incident here. And again, I'm not assigning blame. That's all beside the point. It's like somebody has got to get Tyreek to just chill. I don't know if it's Calais Campbell, Teron Armstead, Chris Greer, Jalen Ramsey, Mike McDaniel, Tua. Somebody has got to get in his ear and say, look, Reek, man, just chill. Just chill. And that's one thing that I would like to see come of this, because it just seems to me that nobody at the Dolphins has really done much. That Tyreek scores touchdowns and you don't really want to upset him, and so you kind of don't say anything. But man, somebody's got to be the adult in the room here. And again, it's not about blame, it's not about fault, it's about, dude, Tyreek, just chill, like give us a chance here, just chill. And that's one thing that I would like to see result from this.
Yeah, and here's my thing, though. If the conversation had not been had before, I don't know, again, that in the grand scheme of things, what happened on Sunday, from his part, again, to me, he wasn't very respectful to the cops after he was pulled over. But, is it really that egregious in and of itself? No. The other part about the whole incident, I forgot to mention, Calais Campbell and Jonnu Smith. I mean, again, cops, seriously, you could not have a conversation with him other than get back in your car, get in your car, get back in your car, get back in your car, show me your license, show me your driver. I mean, seriously. Anyway. Okay. So, but going back to my original point, no, I don't believe in the issue of distraction, unless, again, there's somebody severely hurt on your team, like a death in the organization, the Damar Hamlin situation. That's different. And in a case like this or whatever, for the most part, I'm not a believer in that. If the Dolphins lose against the Bills on Thursday night, and I'm not sure, I don't think they will. Oh, spoiler alert. But that's not my official prediction. I think the issue might be more their running back situation, even though I still think they can overcome it. And this is the next topic we need to discuss. Yep. Is the Dolphins. Let me see here. Dolphins had a walk through. No, they did not practice Monday. They had a walk through Tuesday. Both of their injury reports on each day were based on an estimation. If this had been a normal practice with the guys I've worked, well, for those 2 days, Devon Achane and Raheem Mostert were listed as DNP, meaning they wouldn't practice. And this is a short week. And again, I know it's still an estimation, but I think right now, if we were to guess one way or the other, they're probably not playing.
I would agree. And you know, Poop, in the locker room after the game, Achane was moving very gingerly. I was just kind of watching him, and I didn't know what was going on. And I haven't, sorry viewers, I have not gone back to watch the game yet.
I got it. I got it. I got the play.
Dude, okay. Did he get ragdolled? What happened?
It's his last reception on the game-winning drive. He caught us like a quick throw to the outside, and he was tackled low. It didn't look like somebody fell on him, but then he got up and immediately he was walking gingerly, and then he went back to the side. And Raheem Mostert's the one I have no idea what happened. I know it's listed as a chest injury. I don't know what happened in his case.
Yeah. So anyway, I'll say this, that Achane has got to. It sounds ridiculous and impossible. He's got to find a way to stay healthy. Because they need him.
It is ridiculous.
Yeah, I know it is. It is, isn't it? I shouldn't. I should. I don't know. You know that. Yeah, But they need him. They need him, and you don't want to see him. What, he missed 7 games last season or 5 games, something like that. Yeah. So that's that's just. Man, they need his speed. They need him to take some carries from Raheem Mostert. They need his electricity in the offense. They need him as an alternative to Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, it sounds ridiculous. He's got to find a way to stay healthy. Maybe I should
you get hurt.
I know. I'll say it like this. It's so unfortunate that he gets nicked up so frequently, because they really, really need him. And I know Devon wants to be out there, but man, that is just so unfortunate for him and for the Dolphins offense. But yeah, when you look at the run game, I mean, they've got to find something back there. And when your top 2 guys are hurt, it makes it very, very difficult to find something. It makes it look more and more like you're going to be a one-dimensional offense on Thursday. And Buffalo is keeping up with this, and they're going to know what's going on. So I'm going to be very interested to see how this affects strategy and play calling.
Except here's the thing, is the Dolphin offense can struggle 90% of the game. Boom, Tyreek goes for 80. Boom, Jalen Waddle goes for 65. And there you go, which is what happened against Jacksonville. And it's really, really, really tough to keep those guys at bay the entire game. It's really, really tough. You make one bad move, one error in coverage, like the Jacksonville safety coming up on Tyreek crossing over the middle to let Waddle go behind him on the deep slant, and boom, that's 63 yards. And then the other one, you just can't account for Tyreek's stupid speed. And he took like what, a 25, 30-yard pass and then gets around the corner. And this is part of what makes the Dolphins, which is a very good team, that explosiveness. And I put that in a comment today on it. I don't know if Dolphin fans really appreciate and understand what they have with those 2 guys and the freakiness of it. That you have 2 guys like that can come up with that kind of big play and what that means and what that does for the team. I mean, the Dolphin offense was not impressive for most of the game against Jacksonville, and you got 2 big plays. It's like...
Yeah, Poop, excuse me for a second. I've got to get my notebook. But here's the thing, Poop. It doesn't work against the better teams because, again, you were 1-6 last year against playoff teams. You're 3-12 against playoff teams in the Mike McDaniel era.
Had to bring that up, didn't you? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. So when Buffalo has beaten you 4 or 5 times in the Mike McDaniel era. So yes, that stuff works against Jacksonville and Carolina and Washington and the Giants. It doesn't work against the good teams. And that's my concern here. I'm trying to look up because I figured out Tyreek in his games against Buffalo, 28 in the last couple of years, 28 receptions, 311 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's not Tyreek like that.
But how many games?
5 games. 5 games.
Okay.
And so, you've just got to think, what else can they do? Like you've got to come up with something different. A run game would help. A tight end would help. A slot receiver would help. Better defense would help. The big play is great, but it just isn't good enough to get you across the finish line against the top teams on your schedule. So that's why when I was saying, when I've been saying all off season, and when I was saying last year that Dalvin Cook is essential personnel, or you need a slot receiver or a tight end, you just need something, a number 3 aside from Tyreek and Jalen Watt. I don't care what position it is, really, or who it is, but you need something else. And that's what I want to see with this team, and that's what I want to see on Thursday. Has that number 3 emerged offensively?
And this may be the game where Jonnu Smith emerges after what we saw in the preseason, because he had a rough go of it against Jacksonville. Even though he wasn't used very often, when he was, it wasn't effective. Durham Smythe had a very rough game as well. Quick note here, the Dolphins will be wearing their throwback uniforms. I know that's very important to some Dolphin fans. They will be wearing the throwbacks, the aqua throwbacks for this particular game. They're wearing the white throwback jerseys on Thanksgiving night.
And they'll be wearing black shoes tomorrow, because we know that, because in the locker room, we saw all these shoe boxes in front of their lockers with a sheet of paper on it that said, "We're wearing black shoes for the throwback. These are your shoes." So they will be wearing black shoes. How about that?
And those always make guys look slower, don't they? Or is it just
they're going to think, Tyreek and Jalen, they're not as fast as we thought. No, they do. They do make you look slower. They really do. It's guys always look faster in those. When Saban Ahmed used to wear those orange shoes, and I like that. It looks cool, and it does make you kind of look faster. But the black shoes are definitely the old throwback plow horse looking shoes. So maybe that gives them an edge.
We should mention this when we're talking about the Dolphins passing game against the Bills. The Bills don't have the same secondary at all.
Right.
They replaced 3/4 of their starters. Trey Davis-White's gone. Michael Hyde is gone. Jordan Poyer obviously is gone since he's in Miami. And now they're also going to be without their nickelback, Deron Johnson. Not the same guys. So I think the Dolphins could do something. Sean McDermott's still running the defense, and he's still a very good defensive mind. And the defensive line is where the Dolphin offense has to control, which kind of sort of was the case against Jacksonville. This defensive line is even better than Jacksonville's defensive line. It's better across the board. Gregory Rousseau, by all accounts, Jalen Phillips' buddy from UM, was a monster in training camp in the preseason, or training camp at the very least. Had 3 sacks against Arizona on Sunday. They need to keep him in check. Von Miller, as Sal Capaccio told us on Behind Enemy Lines yesterday, looked better Sunday than he did at any point last year. So those are factors. The biggest issue to me when you're talking about this game is, can this defense, which looked so good in the second half, contain Josh Allen, have the answers for Josh Allen, who, I'm going to say it for those Dolphin viewers of the All Dolphins podcast who complain about it, is a hell of a quarterback. Okay? It's not a man crush. Well, a man crush I have on him. No, it's not because he has a big arm. He's just a hell of a quarterback. Sorry if I say something nice about an opponent.
He is. And here's the thing about Josh is that he crushes the Dolphins. We know that he's got an 11-2 record against the Dolphins. In the last 2 years, he's got 15 passing touchdowns and 4 interceptions. It's crazy. I mean, he's rushed for 230 yards. The dude just goes into the phone booth, puts on that Superman outfit, and he comes out and he kicks the Dolphins' butt. Now, I will say this about Josh, which everybody knows. He can keep both teams in the game at the same time. He has that propensity for turnovers and key turnovers, but against the Dolphins, even when he does that, he comes back in the fourth quarter. So, I will be very interested in seeing what Anthony Weaver can do against him. Does he bring stuff over from Baltimore that was effective against Josh Allen? And what is he going to do against Josh Allen? I'm very interested to see that. Vic Fangio, who is, I don't know if you could call him a Hall of Fame defensive coordinator, but he's close.
Don't say that. Dolphin fans aren't going to like that.
I know. I know, right? I definitely won't say that in front of Jalen Ramsey or Javon Holland.
For sure.
Right. Javon Holland will tell me to kick rocks. How about that? But I'll be interested to see what Weaver can do, because Fangio did not have the answer. Josh Boyer did not have the answer.
Correct. No, and again, the Dolphins shouldn't feel bad. The guys are really good. Let's see what else I have on my list here at the topics. Oh, I wanted to touch on this one. Tua talked today. He normally talks on Wednesdays, so he did on Tuesdays. And he kind of backed up something that I had said, this ridiculous notion that the Bills would somehow gain an advantage. And I apologize for anybody who espoused the notion, but this idea that the Bills would get some kind of advantage by signing Mike White to their practice squad. And Tua kind of went, no, not happening.
You know what? I've been telling people this. Look, Buffalo is probably telling Mike White what they did to beat the Dolphins, right? They beat them 13 of 15. Josh Allen is 11-2. They've beaten them 4 out of the last 5. There's nothing that Mike White is going to tell them that they don't know or that hasn't worked. Like, they dominate the Dolphins. They don't need any more intelligence. Like Mike White might try to tell them something. With all due respect, Mike, be quiet. Just sit over there. We know what we're doing when they know what they're doing when it comes to beating the Dolphins, right? Like, they don't need any outside advice. So I agree with you. The idea that they're going to put a bright light on them and pump them for information, dude, they don't need Mike White's intel. They've done pretty well without his intelligence.
We should point out, however, that the last meeting between the two teams was one the Dolphins easily could have won. They were leading 14-7 heading into the fourth quarter. They were playing great defense, gotten a couple of takeaways, and then there was the punt return that changed everything. Deontay Hardy, and the Bills went on to score another touchdown. The Dolphins couldn't do anything offensively. Dolphins are in much better physical condition at this point because outside of the two running backs and Malik Washington, who was DNP for the past 2 days, didn't play in the opener. Be shocked if he was in the lineup. So maybe it's Robbie Chosen again, elevated from the practice squad. Maybe it's Eric Ezukama. But the Dolphins, relatively speaking, are in much better physical shape than they were at this time last year not at this time last year, but when they faced the Bills in the regular season finale. I should mention that if both Mostert and Achane don't play, the only two running backs on the active roster, halfbacks, I should point out, are Jeff Wilson Jr. and Jalen Wright. And then Deneric Prince would be your first-year player, would be the running back from the practice squad. They could elevate if they wanted to do so. There are other things they can do. They can have Jonnu Smith get a couple of carries. They can give Alec Ingold a couple of carries as well. Did you see that stat? The Dolphins were 5 for 11 on 3rd and 1 runs last year. They were 3 for 3 on Sunday. How about that?
Yeah, how about that?
Alec Ingold had 2 carries all of last year for 0 yards, had 2 carries for 8 yards on Sunday. How about that?
Yep. That's good stuff.
No, did very well in that department. And then the other issues.
The Dolphins are great at home in September. They're great in September under McDaniel, 7-1. Great at home in September under McDaniel, 4-0. So, including that 21-19 victory over Buffalo when they wilted in the sun. Of course, you won't have the sun; it's a night game, but they are almost unbeatable in September under Mike McDaniel.
They are. The only loss, I believe, would have been that Thursday night game at Cincinnati.
Yes, that's correct. You are correct.
No, but this should be a very, very good game. The Bills were semi-sloppy in their opener against the Cardinals. They won 34-28. This is a game the Dolphins absolutely can win. The Jets, this may come as a surprise. I still think they're going to be good at some point. They looked horrible yesterday, and it wasn't Aaron Rodgers. I know if you look at the box score, it's like, oh my God, he was horrible. Yeah, if you watch the game, that offensive line looked only slightly better than it did last year. And on defense, they got pushed around like crazy, especially up front. And those 49ers, like, oh my God. How's this for a stat? I believe it comes from OptiStats. First team in the modern era with a 200-yard pass. I hope I get it right. A 100-yard passer, a 50-yard rusher, and a 50-yard receiver and a player with an interception, all of whom were drafted 200th overall or later or came into the NFL as a rookie free agent. How's that for a stat? I mean, it's like that team, and this is what the Dolphins kind of sort of have. It's the Kyle Shanahan system. Who knew? I mean, I'm not sure I didn't even heard the name Jordan Mason before last night, and he went for what, $120?
Yep.
I mean, that seems ridiculous.
And now look, they have drafted very well. They have found players. They have developed players, but it's coming to a screeching halt soon because Brock Purdy's about to get paid, and you can't keep all those people on payroll. But they will enjoy it this year, and they will be darn near dominant this year. They have built that team the right way. I really love what they do. I like them.
Why don't you go cover them then?
I know, right? I know. I like them. I like Philly. I like Baltimore. There's some teams that have built that they've built themselves in the right way. I'm waiting to see on Detroit, see if they're a one-year wonder. But there are some teams in this league that I really like the way that they're built. I like their approach, offense, defense. It's not just quarterback. It's like 7 or 8 different positions all around. I admire that.
I'll give you another team like that. The Steelers are the same way. I mean, that's
right.
Every year it's like Atlanta was a chic pick, you know, heading into 2024. You know, they could make a run and all that, and the Steelers like, whoosh, you know, little quick spank job. But and the Dolphins are aspiring to get to that point.
They are.
And again, 4 straight winning seasons, back-to-back playoff appearances, off to 1-0 start. This is a game again. They win Thursday night, likely in first place in the AFC East, because I don't even know who New England is playing. I have a hard time seeing New England going 2-0. And here we go again.
One quick note, Poop. Today, I wasn't there. I was doing my podcast, so I wasn't there for the assistant coaches Dolphins Deep Dive with Perk, sunsentinel.com every Tuesday.
Oh, plug in yourself.
That's all I had to say. No, I'm kidding. When we were coming out of the locker room, I did see Bradley Chubb on the field running sprints, and I only bring that up because we've seen over the last week and a half, we've seen Isaiah Wynn in the locker room and on the sideline during the game. Saw Keon Smith today. We've seen him locker room and on the sideline. I didn't notice Bradley Chubb on the sideline during the game. He might have been there Sunday. I didn't notice him. I was looking for him. Haven't usually seen him in the locker room, but he was out there today running sprints, short sprints. So Bradley Chubb continues to be on the mend. He looked pretty good from the few sprints that I saw him run. So I just thought I would throw that in, because I hadn't seen Chubb. To quote Tyreek, I haven't seen him in about a week. So it's good to know that Chubb is okay.
I had to go there. And speaking of Bradley Chubb, very, very impressive debut by Jalen Phillips.
Yes.
Defensive coordinator Anthony Weaver calling him Mariano Rivera, because he's like, maybe it's because I don't like the Yankees, so I can't even pronounce one of their star players' names correct. Yes, one of the greatest closers of all time, if not the greatest, Mariano Rivera. Yes, I got that. I do want to point out, and again, because I know I've become conditioned to expect the pushback that I know is coming. This is not to take away from Jalen Phillips. I want you to watch the overhead shot of that sack he had and look at the coverage. I mean, damn, that's impressive. There was like nobody open, and Trevor Lawrence is looking. Not that it took that long for Jalen to get to him, but it wasn't the case. There was a previous play also on the sack by Emmanuel Ogbah. The overhead showed he had a couple of quick guys who were open short and quickly that he could have dumped the ball off to, but on that third down play, he had no shot. And that's, case of great defense, just like the 4th and 1, even though it didn't produce any points for the Dolphins, but that turnover on downs. I mean, you want to talk about some great work there all the way around from Jalen Ramsey, Emmanuel Ogbah, was it Zach Sealer on the other side? Then Ramsey seals the edge on one side, runs across the field, gets some other. That was some beautiful teamwork there. And we saw a lot of that from the defense in the second half. It was a good thing, swarming, good coverage, and that's what they're going to need against Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills.
One player who was quiet good, special teams were good against Jacksonville, Jake Bailey, the punter. We don't ever talk about punters. 4 punts, 49.5 yards per punt, 3 inside the 20, I think 1 at the 3, 1 at the 12. And I bring that up for flipping the field and giving your defense a chance. You do that against Josh Allen, you're on your way to victory. Jake Bailey was freaking outstanding. He was really, really good in that game. We know Jason Sanders was good. We know Elijah Campbell caused the fumble right on the kickoff. So that what a sequence, right? You have the Javon Holland caused fumble, the Tyreek touchdown, and then Elijah punches that ball out. The Dolphins don't recover, but change the game. Defense, offense, special teams. That's complimentary football, baby.
Just like that. And I put a poll right the day after the game, like who should have been the Dolphin player of the game. And I listed Tyreek Hill, Javon Holland, Devon Achane, and Tua. And I got scolded for not mentioning Jake Bailey. And my defense for that egregious oversight was that the 2 punts he put, there's 2 inside the 5, I think it was, is that Jacksonville drove the length of the field on both of them. One of them was a touchdown. The other one was the drive ended with the ATM fumble caused by Javon. So that's why. And not surprisingly, it was Javon Holland who won the poll for that absolute, game-turning play. It's one of those, that's your game right there. And forget, no, I'm not even going to say it. No, I'm not going to say it. I'm going to leave it.
Don't get scared. There you go.
You can tell me good call not to bring it up. So
that's right.
On that note, we're going to leave it at that. That's going to wrap it up for this Tuesday edition of the All Dolphins podcast with Perk, who, as he mentioned to you already, and I'm going to do it again, catch his work at sunsentinel.com. Catch the Dolphin Deep Dive with Perk every week. That it appeared earlier on Tuesday. Sure, it's available. You can find it. Catch my work on Miami Dolphins on SI. And then, of course, the All Dolphins podcast, which you know because you are here. Please like, subscribe, share, and all that good stuff. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch everyone on Wednesday. Thank you.